Okay, so during the week, we had all those votes. I'm going to take you through exactly who's gone through. Let me just move over to this stream. I think it's this one here. Here we go. And I can talk you through exactly... You've got too many buttons down. No, we're all good. We're all good now. Okay, so the first poll that went out saw the Wicker Man and Eden Lake going through with 323 votes in total on that particular vote there. Village of the Damned was voted out, and so was Censor. Censor is a great movie. More people should see it. I'm guessing that I'll just give Tony more to complain about. Well, he can sit and stew in the corner now for 5 minutes while he can't speak. Village of the Damned went out, Censor went out, and then we had Group B, which followed later that day. In Group B, we had The Great, Don't Look Now, and Dog Soldiers, which have both gone through. The Innocents and The Hallow both went out on that one. In that particular vote, we had nearly 300 votes across that one, so that was terrific. Group C, we had Peeping Tom and The Ritual going through. The Ritual, which I wasn't sure whether many people had seen The Ritual. The Ritual's a great little horror movie that came out around about nearly 10 years ago now, probably 2017-ish. Deathline and Raw Meat, or Deathline or Raw Meat from 1972 was voted out, and so was Attack the Block. Did anyone ever expect Attack the Block to go through? You never know, though. You never know. Group E had 28 Days Later with 65% of the vote. Company of Wolves, which I was surprised at, only got 7% of the vote. And then Dracula, the horror of Dracula, if you're in the US, went through, as well as 28 Days Later with 26% of the vote. And Men, a paltry 2%. I think we do have one title that's here that got 0% of the vote. Nobody voted on whatsoever. Okay, let's move on to Group. I think it's Group. Is it Group F? I think, yeah, Group F. Group F had The Descent, Sightseers, Curse of Frankenstein, and His House in there. 69% voted for The Descent, and 26% voted for The Curse of Frankenstein. So those two titles went through in Group F. Group G. We had in Group G, let me just move this up here. We had Kill List, The Lair of the White Worm, Quatermass Experiment, and The Children. Children, I really like The Children. I was surprised that more people didn't vote for that one. But anyway, Kill List went through, winning the group, with Quatermass Experiment also going through as well. And then Group I had The Woman in Black, only just going through, beating Witchfinder General by 1%. And Shaun of the Dead, which took the bulk of the vote on that one with 59%. And from Beyond the Grave, one of my favorite Amicus anthology movies, 13%. And then the final, I think it was the final group today. Yep. Group J, Under the Skin, 26% of the vote. The Limehouse Golem. Nobody voted for the Limehouse Golem whatsoever. That got 0%. Tales from the Crypt went through, as well as Under the Skin, and only just missing out was The Curse of the Werewolf at 24%. Okay, so I'm going to put the link into the chat now. Zara says she would have been rioting if The Woman in Black hadn't have gone through. Yeah, it was close, Zara. It was close. Let me just have a look at the chat. Is Tony back in yet? Is he behaving? Surprising how Peeping Tom got through, but not The Innocents. Yeah, The Innocents. Wow, what a film. More people should see that. Sightseers, I'm with you on that one. Ben Wheatley's Sightseers is really underrated, and the Sightseers dog scene is hilarious. I'm gonna say I can't remember it because it's a good 10 years since I've seen it, but I remember loving the film at the time. Some weird voting going on, says James. Late joining, says Gilly. Hey Gilly, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Was there a group with Dead Man's Shoes? There was a group with Dead Man's Shoes. Did I miss it out? Oh, there it was. Group H. Let me just go back. I must have skipped over it. Group H. Saint Maud, Dead Man's Shoes, The Devil Rides Out, and Rawhead Rex. Dead Man's Shoes and Devil Rides Out went through in that particular group. Must have skipped over that one. Okay. Poor Darren, your film from Saltaire didn't get a single %. Saltaire? Which one? The Choral? The Limehouse Golem? Was that's nothing to do with Saltaire, I don't think, has it? You're confusing me now, Jamie. You're confusing me. Okay, let's go over to the main voting screen here. Let me just turn the music off and we can get started on the main vote. The link is in the chat, folks. The link is in the chat. And we're going to start the vote on... The first film is 28 Days Later. We have 80 people watching right now. And I'll kick it off straight away. Released on November the 1st, 2002. Directed by Danny Boyle. 82.8 million worldwide. A huge success back when it came out. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 87%. 85% with the audience. Music by John Murphy, that fantastic score that he did for this film. Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, Brendan Gleeson, and written by Alex Garland. After waking from a coma, a courier discovers Britain has collapsed following the release of the Rage virus. As he joins a small group of survivors, the film becomes less about infected monsters and more about fear, power, and how quickly humanity unravels when order disappears. Empty London scenes were filmed at dawn with rapid street shutdowns, popularized Fast Infected in modern horror, the fast zombies, shot largely on digital video for immediacy. You know, they had to get in and out of these locations because it was a lot of guerrilla filmmaking that was going on. And don't tell me the echo's come back. I don't think it has. I'm just going to double check. No, it hasn't. We're good. We're good. At 10 seconds left to vote, folks. 10 seconds left to vote on 28 Days Later. You just move that and that there and that there. And the vote is up. And 28 Days Later has skipped down into second place. Interesting. I thought more of you would have had that at the top. But no, we're in second place on 28 Days Later. Okay, Bloody Boston said, that just reminded me, we finally watched 28 Years The Bone Temple this week. Not bad, better than 28 Years Later, I thought. Yeah, Bone Temple's a great movie. Really deserved a hell of a lot more love when it came out in the cinema, but unfortunately, you know, in the US it wasn't as good as people were expecting it to be. But it's still a great movie, and hopefully it'll do well when it hits streaming pretty soon. Myers fan says, Tears won for 28 days. It showed that the UK could still do horror and do it well. And Wraith says, I'm in the minority, but I prefer 28 Weeks Later, to be honest. Really? Okay, that's a little bit too glossy. A little bit too glossy for my liking, that one, compared to what 28 Days Later. I understand the whole idea of shooting it on those video cameras because they could just go into the streets, kick them off, and and start filming at the straight away without having to set things up, load film into cameras, all that kind of stuff. So it was it was pretty guerrilla was the first one. James says, right up there with Living Dead at the Manchester morgue. And Gilly says, I thought Bone Temple was outstanding. And Muckman says, I prefer Weeks Later to Days Later too. I get why. I mean, like, I think that when you look at how the movies age now, because obviously it was like standard definition. It's like watching Blair Witch on a big screen these days. It just doesn't work because technology's moved on so much. Our eyes expect more from a theatrical experience, and it really doesn't look. It looked better on film, did 28 Days Later, than it did. Now it's been transferred to digital, but. First place in the second tier for now. So let's kick off the second vote. And it is Under the Skin. which is a great movie. Absolutely fantastic movie. Love this film. What have we got here on Under the Skin? I have some notes somewhere. You have 70 seconds left to vote, people. Oh, I've lost my notes for Under the Skin. Okay. Let me just pull them back up. Jonathan Glazer. You put that there and that there. Directed by Jonathan Glazer, written by Glazer and Walter Campbell, based on the 2000 novel. Scarlett Johansson. Music by, where was that? Who did the music on this? Because it was really Mika Levi. It was a really unusual score. Widely praised by critics, a critic for Glazer's direction, Johansson's performance, Landon cinematography, and Mika Levi's score. It received numerous accolades and awards, was named the best film of the year by various critics and publications, appeared on many of the best films of the decade list, and ranked 61st. We just stop that one there. Ranked 61st on the BBC's 100 Greatest Films of the 21st Century list. Okay, so Under the Skin's finished in third place there. Is that because not many of you have seen it? I don't know, because it's such a great movie. Darren, we see you on Wiki. Yeah, no, my notes that I wrote down have not transferred onto the Mac notes that I've written. So it's going so well. Echoes, wiki pages, clitics. This is why I showed. Listen, it wouldn't be me if there wasn't a few stumbles along the way. Under the Skin was bloody boring to me and the film made no sense. Under the Skin was a pretty good one. Yeah, need a rewatch of this film, says Ray. Thought it was a bit trippy, but the first time I watched it. Third tier is Criminal. Shame on you. Johansson is great in this. Solid effects. When was The Woman in Black voted for? That was in group, whatever it was, H or something like that, Daz. It's in there. Don't worry about it. Under the Skin is excellent. Under the Skin is a good one, says Chester. Never seen it, says Duke. And James P says, sounds too sci-fi, so pass. Not a fan of science fiction at the best of times. Okay, so Under the Skin. Didn't go down too well with you guys. So let's kick off The Woman in Black. The Woman in Black vote is now live. There was a bit of a hangover from Under the Skin there while I got the notes, but it is going now. You have 75 seconds left to vote on The Woman in Black. Released in 2012, directed by James Watkins, with a massive 128 million worldwide. Just 66% with the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 54% with the audience. Marco Beltrami did the music. Daniel Radcliffe stars. A widowed lawyer travels to a remote coastal village and uncovers a vengeful spirit tied to a tragic past. Reviving old school ghost story traditions, it relies on atmosphere, dread, and sudden shocks. And there are some great shocks in this as well. It was, in the UK, it was trimmed to get its 12A rating back when it came out. It's billed as one of the most successful British horrors ever. It was, I guess, one of the first films that Daniel Radcliffe did post Harry Potter. Based on Susan Hill's novel, heavy use of classic ghost imagery, and spawned a sequel, which nobody really talks about, I don't think. 3 seconds left, folks. There we go. 3 of you voted it in first place, 3 of you in second, 8 of you voted it in third, and 4 of you voted it in fifth. So The Woman in Black is first in the third tier, and I dread to think what Zara's saying at the moment. It's a good job I'm not a mod, else I'd block anyone with a bad word to say against this film. I think you've upset Tony, Darren. I'm not bothered. I'm really not bothered. I'm kind of fed up of his acerbic wit in the chat here, and I'm not the first person to say it. I've had a few people reach out about it, so timing him out might do him some good. Maybe he'll come back next week. Honestly, Woman in Black doesn't deserve to be beating under the skin. Wow, shocking, says Monkman. And Wraith UK says, yeah, give me the 80s version over this one any day. Far creepier. Joe the Waiter says, absolutely love The Woman in Black. Very cool Hammer film. The original is very good too. And got to give Radcliffe props for choosing projects that you wouldn't expect post-Potter. Yeah, he does some good stuff. There's one that he did, an Alex Arger film called, I think it's called Jungle, which you can watch on Amazon, which is a true story about a guy that goes missing in the jungle. And it's such a tense movie. Really, really. I mean, I'm a big Alex Arger fan anyway, but it's such a great film. 28 seconds for me. Don't like the grainy effect. Skin almost made me stop fancying Scarlett Johansson. Hated it. Fourth. Black is a solid second. Okay, cool. Thanks, Paul. Good to see you, mate. Radcliffe gave a solid performance in this. I have a lot of time for him. Comes across really well in interviews. And early Hammer, Drac, and Frank. As for Zombies, Plague of, and Cult, Mr. Wicker, says CA. Okay, cool. Right, let's kick off the next one. Let's see what we have here. 90 seconds, and it's the Wicker Man. Let's see what you guys think of the Wicker Man. Okay, released in 1973. Can't really find any box office on this one because it came out at a time when box office wasn't really recorded. 90% on the critics score and 87% on the audience score. Edward Woodward, Christopher Lee, a devout policeman investigates a missing girl on a remote island, only to uncover a smiling community with terrifying beliefs. A slow, hypnotic descent into ritualistic horror that defines the genre. Considered the gold standard of folk horror, music is integral to its storytelling. It's Christopher Lee's favorite role. Originally cut down by the studio, and the ending, even today, I would say, remains pretty shocking and iconic. Interesting that Jordan Moran, he Scotsman himself, can't stand this film. He absolutely can't stand this film. I was terrified by it the first time that I saw it. A shame I missed out on the recent 4K really plush box set that they brought out. But 3 seconds left, folks, to vote on The Wicker Man. And the vote is up. And it's top tier. First in the top tier. We'll see how that shapes out later on. But 17 of you have voted it in first place. 7 in second. 1 in third. And 2 in fourth. Let's see what you guys think of The Wicker Man in the chat. Jungle was pretty... Oh, hang on a minute. Jungle was pretty good. Shame he's turned on J.K. Rowling. Oh, let's not get into that. Gonna vote everything bottom now to make The Woman in Black say, do not sabotage my tier rankings, Zara. I love a horror film with a happy ending. Summer is incoming. Yeah, I love the way they just sing their way to that really dreadful, not dreadful, but a finale full of dread. Wicker Man is brilliant, memorable performance by Christopher Lee. And ATG and AT podcast, Ronnie says The Dentist could have been a British horror title. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you. I can't stand it either, so Jordan is not alone. And Joe the Waiter says, great film, but no one would have you be in the right mood for it. But don't get me started on the remake and those awful CGI bees. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. That sequel is just not the bees. And also that bit when he steals that girl's trike and just kind of pedals up the hill. Scared me as a kid, this movie, living in the Isle of Man. It reminds me of this movie. Wow, okay. Isle of Man is somewhere I've never been, and I was very close to the Isle of Man just a few weeks ago, down in the... where was I now? Oh, sorry, no. Isle of Wight. Isle of Wight, not Isle of Man. Isle of Man's up north, isn't it? I think. That's right, yeah. Isle of Wight's down on the south coast. I've not been to either, so I'd love to go there someday. Okay, let's have a look and start the next vote. I'm just going to post the link again. This is the Ritual, folks. We're looking at the Ritual now. I'll post the link in there. Okay, so released in 2017, directed by David Bruckner, had a limited run at the box office. I think this one went to Netflix in the UK, if I remember rightly. 74% with the critics, 63% with the audience. Starring Rafe Spall, a group of friends hike through Scandinavian wilderness to honor a dead mate, only to discover an ancient presence stalking them. Combines grief, masculinity, and folk mythology into modern creature horror. Based on Adam Neville's novel, Netflix acquisition boosted its popularity. The creature design has always been really widely praised, and it mixes folk horror with survival and dread. And it has, like, I've watched this twice, and I have to say, the second time, I liked it even more than the first time. Dave, one of my buddies, Dave McRae, over on his channel, he really cites this as one of the best horror films that he's seen. He absolutely loves it. And this is the sort of horror that really, floats his boat. So yeah, folks, The Ritual, if you've never seen it, check it out. It's a really good Brit horror. Second place on the second tier right now. 3 seconds left. And there we go. So The Ritual is... second in the second tier. 3 of you voted it in first place. 9 in second place. 3 in third. And 4 in fourth place. See what you guys think of The Ritual. Chester says, I like the Wicker Man and I can't stand bees. Are you you're talking the sequel, the remake. Nick Cage kung fu kicking everyone in his bear suit. It's just bizarre, isn't it? I mean, the original Wicker Man, you could say, is bizarre as well, but it kind of holds up over the years. I mean, it's an acquired taste, I get that, but the sequel's just a complete misfire. Yeah, you could have stuck another ear on your forehead and paid a visit. The Ritual is pretty solid. Never seen The Ritual, says Myers fan. I was surprised it hit the top of its poll. Have to abstain. Andrew, honestly, try it out. I think you'll really like it. It's a Netflix movie. You should give it a go. The Ritual's a good horror. Needs a physical media release, says Jamie. I agree, actually. I've forgotten that there isn't one. 1 second. And there may be a Region 1 version. There was another film that came out around the same time, and I was trying to find it to put it in here. And I'm pretty sure it's set in Scotland. And it's a bunch of guys, again, on a stag or something like that. And they accidentally shoot a young lad who's like one of the townsfolk. And the townsfolk turn on the group of stags. If anybody can remember the name of that film, I can't remember it. It's set in Scotland. It's about 10 years old. I tried to find it to put into the vote, but just couldn't remember the title of it. Celebro, hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you in here. Hey, Sam. I really enjoyed The Ritual. It was mysterious and feels immersive. Yeah, it's really unsettling. It's really unsettling. Great film. Tragic start sets the scene for the film. Fantastic performances from... Oh, you've deleted it, Gilly. Yeah, do they shoot father and son? I think they do. And then the whole town all come after them. Yeah, if Caliber. Okay. Is that the one? I think Arrow might be bringing that out pretty soon. Let me just Google that. Let me just have a look at that. Caliber. See if it is the one. Caliber movie. Yes, it is. Yeah. That's the one. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I saw that on Netflix as well. It's telling me on the screen here I've already watched it. Okay, let's kick off the next vote then, folks. Thanks for reminding. What a shame. I should have put that in this vote. Totally couldn't remember the name of it. Here we go. The next vote has kicked off, and it's The Haunting. Okay, so there were two titles that were tied in one of the polls. The Haunting and I think it was... Shallow Grave. It was The Haunting and Shallow Grave. And I made an executive decision to put The Haunting through. And I did that for you, Jamie, because I know you'd been disappointed with the suggestions that you made, not getting anywhere. Things like Scent Maud and what was the other one? Censor as well. So The Haunting from 1963 goes through. Although it's set in New England, it is a British film. And so, yeah, interested to see what you guys think of this one. Famous for that mirror shot, which is just incredible. Directed by Robert Wise, 87% with the critics. Julie Harris, Claire Bloom. Investigators and guests gather at Hill House to study paranormal activity, only to discover the building itself may be alive. Relying on sound, shadow, and suggestion, the film delivers relentless psychological terror without explicit violence. Adapted from Shirley Jackson's novel, almost no ghosts are ever shown. Sound design does most of the work. Hugely influential on haunted house cinema and frequently ranked among the genre's best. 5 seconds to vote on The Haunting, folks. It's doing well. And the vote is up, and it's second in the top tier. 7 votes in first place, 5 in second, 2 in third, and 2 in fourth. Terrific. Let's see what you guys think of The Haunting. A lot of people talking about Caliber a couple of times. Excellent flick, says Andrew. Yeah, it is. It's a shame I didn't put it in here. It would have been really cool to see what most of you think of it. You unfortunately missed Aaron doing a turn on the waltzes and penning the new term clitics. Few tech issues at the start there, Sam. Glad you missed them. I'm going to actually make this unlisted at the end and then give myself some time tomorrow morning to edit that bit out. It does nobody any good watching me fumble around my knobs. It's the original to the Liam Neeson. The Liam Neeson remake's pretty terrible. I think that's what Alan was alluding to earlier when he said one of these movies has got an absolutely terrible remake. And yeah, it is. It's The Haunting. Title makes me think of the 1977 movie Rituals, which is like a deadlier deliverance. Okay, I don't think I've seen that one. The Daz Man does what he wants. Extro is a bit mental. Extro is just naff. Honestly, Extro, I thought about it. You know, there's so many. I ended up with nearly 200 titles to pick 40 from. And yeah, these were the 40 that I came up with. But I'm gutted about Caliber now. We need a blooper reel. Yeah, maybe one day. That's like a 5-minute blooper though, sorting that out. Okay, let's move on to the next film. And it is The Devil Rides Out. The Devil Rides Out. I'm glad this one went through. This is a still really effective movie today. I haven't seen it for a couple of years, but really, really enjoy it each time I watch it. I remember my dad showing me this as a kid years ago. Directed by Terence Fisher, 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. Music by James Bernard-Lee. Christopher Lee's in this. I think Charles Gray's in it as well, if I remember rightly. A duke and his allies attempt to rescue a friend from a satanic cult, leading to black magic rituals, demons, and Hammer at its most confident. Plot Played completely straight. It remains one of the studio's finest occult films. 40 seconds left, folks. Adapted from Dennis Wheatley's novel, Lee considered it one of his best roles, along with Lord Summerisle and Jinner. He always talks about Jinner being one of his favourite roles as well. Rare Hammer film with Lee as the hero. Yeah, he is. He's the protagonist in this film. Strong occult authenticity and a big cult favourite today as well, I'd say. 11 seconds left. It's doing well. It's in second tier. People think it's better than The Woman in Black and Under the Skin. 3 seconds to go. And the vote is up. Let's have a look. Gunnar Hansen was a big fan of the Haunting 1963 film. Yeah, I'm sure he was. Extra is shockingly bad, says Muckman. Yeah, within the first 10 minutes, a woman gives birth to a fully grown man in that film. Would be a great feature with... would be a great double feature with Calvert would be Caliber. Interesting. Okay, maybe. Extra is very memorable, yeah, for a lot of wrong reasons. And why that film, well, it's fun. It's fun, but something about it just feels so amateurish to me. Why it made, how many, 2 or 3 sequels, something like that? Nah, leave the tech stuff in, dude. Part of the charm. Even the big dogs leave them in mainly. That one was a bit too long. Anybody new to the channel will be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I ain't watching this. Let's have a look here. Daz, love you this. What's he say here? Love you this film. Christopher Lee is fantastic. I believe he once said it was his favorite performance. He can't make his mind up over his favorite performance because he always says Jinner and he always says Lord Summerisle. I saw The Devil Rides Out last year and didn't enjoy it as much as I was expecting. I need to rewatch it. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those that I first saw when I was really young and then probably watched a couple of times since. But it is good. It is good. Favorite Hammer film and probably my favorite British horror movie. Christopher Lee is excellent in it and the book is fantastic. You got called Jinner at school. I think it's a different spelling to that. Love The Devil Rides Out. Would love to see Hammer do one of their collector's editions for it. That would be cool, wouldn't it, Al? That would be really cool. Funnily enough, you mentioned Extro. My mate is the Action Man. What, that Action Man in Extro? Really? That giant Action Man? Or G.I. Joe if you're American? I like the extra creature design, but the movie is pretty bizarre. It is. It is. I thought Christopher Lee's favorite performance was Howling 2. That man was one of the, I mean, like when you look at the tail end of his career was just remarkable. With Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Star Wars films as well that he was in. It was just a remarkable end to a career. And I love that clip. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, the clip when he's collecting his knighthood and it's the reporter calls him the king of horror and he absolutely loses his shit. It's just fantastic. Really love that. Okay, let's get the next vote going. The Descent. The Descent is live and 85 seconds left to vote. Descent's a great movie. The Descent was 2005, I think, if I remember rightly. 2005. And Neil Marshall directing. I seem to have lost my notes for The Descent as well. Neil Marshall directing. As we all know, the Americans weren't down with the really downbeat ending of this film where she just doesn't get out at all. And so they kind of trimmed the ending so that it ends where she's driving away, which for me doesn't work half as good as the ending in this. Somebody who I work with very closely was responsible for the green lighting of this film and always tells me that when he went on the set, he really was nervous about what this movie was going to turn out like because all the rocks in the film in the cave that they were in were made out of polystyrene. And so when they were shooting and the monsters were crawling along them, all you got was this squeaking and creaking all the time, which obviously they take out in post. But he was really concerned about how this movie was going to turn out. And obviously, it turned out really well, as did Dog Soldiers. I think the one thing he said to me was that he had faith because Neil Marshall had pulled it off with Dog Soldiers before that. But it was that great run that Neil Marshall had with Dog Soldiers, The Descent, and Doomsday, which I really like. That love letter to Escape from New York. Okay, so The Descent is in first place. Wow. So 18 of you voted it in first place, 6 of you voted it in second, and 3 of you voted it in fourth place. See what you guys think of The Descent. I think Descent will probably do quite well, as will a couple of other films in here. The Shaun of the Dead I expect to do really well, and simply because it's the movies that have traveled. They're movies that have been big in the US as well and popular in the US with horror fans. So I expect them to do well. Some of the more kind of niche British titles, maybe not so much. At his ends of days, Lee said Rings was his favourite role. So now, was it Saruman or whatever his name was? So that's now his favourite role. Interesting. Counts. Paul says, I think Christopher Lee's favourite role depended on who he was talking to, bless him. Yes. Fantastic. I love the Lord of the Rings clip online as well, whereas he's directing Peter Jackson. It's fantastic. It's when Saruman gets stabbed in the back and he says, and Peter, I wouldn't react like that because I know, because I have been stabbed in the back. And he goes through this whole thing about how he was once stabbed and what the reaction would be like and all that sort of thing. But yeah, he ends up directing Peter Jackson. It's weird. Lee put out a metal album right at the end. He did a few. It wasn't just the one. It was quite a few. Christopher Lee was he took himself very seriously. And if you haven't seen it, the documentary, The Many Deaths of Christopher Lee, is terrific. It's well worth a watch. I actually thought it was better than the Hammer doc that came out around the same time. The Descent is top tier and creepy as hell. The Wise Guy says The Descent's top tier unless you watch the silly American version. Yeah, they wanted a happy ending. The Descent for the win. Brilliant horror. Was claustrophobia is just as scary as the creatures. Neil Marshall should direct more. He does. He just doesn't get recognized anymore. I think he was kind of cancelled a little bit during the... I don't want to go into it, but he was kind of cancelled a little bit. And so I think he struggles to get any sort of mainstream work at the moment. He does a lot of low budget independent stuff now, so, self-financed and that kind of stuff. Some of it hasn't been too good, unfortunately, of late. Kingslayer says, does The Descent have a sequel? It does have a sequel. Sequel's not bad. Sequel's directed by, I think his name's John, I've met the guy as well. John Smith. I think his name is John Smith. He was the editor on the original Descent, and he went on to direct The Descent 2. It's fine. It's okay, but the Descent is so good that the sequel it doesn't quite match it, and wasn't really successful. What a movie The Descent was, says Wexford Rob. Definitely best all-female cast of all time. Yeah, there's something about that moment when she accidentally kills her mate, which they also did in around the same time or just after in Inside as well. There's a horrific moment that's very similar where there's an accidental killing like that. Really grim stuff. I'm extremely claustrophobic, so this gives me anxiety watching it, says James. Therefore, hardly watch it. Also hate heights, so like Fall, but can't watch it much. Fall was a gem. I really liked Fall. I saw a still from the new Fall movie that's coming out. Yeah, interesting looking. There's about 5 of them up there on this one. Yeah, well, he did a lot of TV as well. If you think some of those big early Game of Thrones season finale episodes, he directed a lot of those. You know, those kind of penultimate episodes, which were always the big ones in the early series. He directed a lot of those big episodes of Game of Thrones. Don Mack says, I saw Descent in the theatre, but of course it was the US cut. Didn't see the original ending until it came out on DVD. And Jason says, just joining Darren, am I going blind or is 28 Days in second tier? It is in the second tier. It is in the second tier. Muckman says, I really like Doomsday. It's Neil Marshall's love letter to the films he loves and inspire him. I do as well. And it's a tribute. A lot of people say, oh, he's ripping them off. No. He even when he was on the publicity trail for that film, he was saying, this is my tribute to everything that I loved growing up. He didn't, he made no bones about the fact that he'd pilfered a few ideas and that. He says, look, I'm doing this because I want to honor the directors, John Carpenter, what's his name, who did Road Warrior. Oh, God, I've forgotten his name now. Anyway, you know the Mad Max director. He wanted to honor those guys. Amazing jump scare when you first get a glimpse of the creature behind her. And Al says, I actually backed that Christopher Lee documentary on Kickstarter, Darren. My name is on the closing credits. Excellent. It's really good because you have this kind of puppet of Christopher Lee, don't you, throughout the whole thing. And I think it's Peter Serafinowicz, if I remember rightly, doing his voice. It's really cool. It's really cool. Ralph Nunez says the Descent was brilliant. It was sad seeing all the friends turn on one another. Definitely real life parallels. And Dino Rabbit says, my ex hated me when I showed her The Descent. Out of all the horror movies, we watched this and it scared her the most. And Paul says, Descent 2 is a competent enough sequel. I agree. Darren corrupting everyone, mentioning Inside again. George Miller, thank you. I don't know why I brain farted on that one. You know me, I'll mention that film at every given opportunity. I like the way 5 people tell me it's George Miller. Okay, thank you for that, guys. Let's move on with our 9th movie, and it is Tales from the Crypt. Another Amicus, I think it's Amicus. Yeah, it was an Amicus anthology. I've just ordered, actually, because I have, some of you may remember I used to have behind me a Tales from the Crypt, and it was a double bill with another film. I've moved it down to my lounge now. I can't remember it's another Amicus anthology because Tales from the Crypt was actually Tales from the Crypt was actually the number 1 movie when I was born in 1973, and so it was released that week. And my wife, for my 50th birthday, bought me a huge poster of this double bill. And yeah, it's I've just ordered that particular double bill on Blu-ray to watch because I haven't seen Tales from the Crypt for some time now. You can watch all the Tales from the Crypt episodes broken down on YouTube. Released in 1972, directed by Freddie Francis. It's made in 1972 and directed by Freddie Francis. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Peter Cushing, Joan Collins, remember that one when the Santa's after her? I think we talked about that over Christmas. A group of strangers encounter the Crypt Keeper who reveals their grim fates through interlinked morality tales. Mean-spirited, stylish, and forgettable. It's a pillar and unforgettable, sorry. It's a pillar of British anthology horror. And the vote is up. And it's third in the first tier. Third in the first tier, Tales from the Crypt. 14 of you voted it in first place, 6 in second, 3 in third, 1 in fourth. You're all talking about Demon Knight, Tales from the Crypt. Both born in the year of The Exorcist, Darren. That probably explains a lot. It's really weird. We must be pretty much the same age, Andrew, because I know you posted on Instagram today that the first 18-rated movie that you saw in the cinema, and you were 14 at the time, and it's exactly the same as me, is RoboCop. Actually, I was thinking about doing this earlier on today. Let's just have a little break from the tier. We've just done our 10th film? 8. Ninth film. I want you to put the first 18 or R-rated movie that you saw in the cinema into the chat, just to get a feel for, because I know from looking at my analytics, the core age group that I'm doing these streams to is 45 to 55, but there are there's younger members of the audience as well. But just for shits and giggles and just to show everybody, what was the first 18 or R-rated movie that you saw in the cinema, and how old were you? 53 last week. Yeah, I've got a few months before I'm 53. Halloween H2O when I was 12, says John Jones. Oh, well, when was that? 98? Excellent, John. The Strangers, I was 11 and saw it with my dad. That's cool. That's a good one. Jaws, says Paul. That was a PG, wasn't it? An A or something like that. The Crow, says Wraith. Hope it wasn't that remake of The Crow. Elm Street, says James. Elm Street original, it was 13. Awesome 50 says Alien was the first 18 certificate movie I saw, and I was 16. Predator, says Adam Stevens. Muckman says The Running Man. If it was an 18 cert when it first came out, I think it's a 15 now. Yeah, it probably is. First 18 I saw in the cinema was Natural Born Killers. We were 17. Jaws, The Hole, I was 15. Was The Hole an 18? I saw Jaws. Well, maybe it was an R rating, an R-rated movie. I saw Jaws when I was 5, says Duke. Alien 3 when I was 15. Yeah. Okay. I was 16. Alien at the cinema was 14. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, probably 18 or 19. Return of the Living Dead. Parents went and brought me. I was 5. You must be... Ronnie, wow. And you were having a go at me the other day for watching Trick or Treat with my dad when I was 13. Friday the 13th Part 3, I was 8, says Dino Rabbit. Jason X, Hard to Kill. Oh, what a film. Hard to Kill. That was an 18 here. Hostel Part 2. Worked on that. RoboCop, you were 14, says Lee Wilson. Batshit Scary says I didn't turn 18 until 2007, and I was a baby. I was babyface, so wouldn't have got in early. So probably some shit. Weren't a good time for horror. Probably Rob Zombie's Halloween, maybe. Say no more. Thanks, Shaun. And Physical Media Live says, contrary to popular belief, Frankenstein 1931 was not the first adult film I saw in the cinema. Al, you didn't say. There wasn't even an 18 rating when you... It was an X probably, right? The Hole isn't the Joe Dante film. It was Thora Birch and Keira Knightley in it. Music by Clint Mansell. Ah, that one. Okay. I get it now. Okay. Now that was fun. Thanks for that, guys. Thanks for sharing that. RoboCop at 14, says Lee Wilson. Yeah, I was 14 when I saw that. And I think I've told it before. I snuck in and got booted out halfway through. I had to wait until it came out on VHS to see the rest of it. You're right, mate. You just looked at my framed original Jaws poster. It was an A. So earliest I can guarantee was Aliens at 15. Aliens at 15. Yeah, that would have been, 86. Yeah. Planet Terror and Grindhouse, Death Proof. Yep, 18 or 19. Okay, you waited until you was 18 to see an 18 movie? Okay, fair enough. Right, let's kick off the next vote. Let's do this, and it is Shaun of the Dead. Let's see where Shaun of the Dead goes. I remember seeing this at a multimedia screening a few weeks before it came out, introduced by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, and came out of there, and I was just absolutely blown away because it was just, this loving tribute to George A. Romero's movies. And we just had a blast in there. Released on the 9th of April, 2004. 38.7 million worldwide. 50 seconds left to vote on this one. An unmotivated man tries to save his mum, his mates, and his relationship during a zombie outbreak. Mostly by pretending everything's fine. A perfect blend of comedy, character, and genuine horror. Part of the Cornetto trilogy, script was co-written by Pegg, homages, classic Romero zombie films, hugely influential on horror comedy, and widely regarded as a genre benchmark. It's I thought it might be higher, this one. Thought it might be higher. It'd be good to get your take on why this isn't ahead of the pack. Maybe some of you guys see it more as a comedy rather than a horror. 3 seconds left. And the time is up. Third place in the first tier. 16 of you voted it in first place, 8 in second, 6 in third, and 2 in fourth. Okay. Let's see why you guys were so miserable about Shaun of the Dead. Straight to the top, says Shaun. No, it's not. The Descent is still number 1. John Jones says, been way too long since I've seen this, but along with Return of the Living Dead, it's one of the best examples of comedy blending with horror. That and American Werewolf in London as well. I think it's a perfect movie, says Lee Wilson. Still prefer Hot Fuzz. You see, Hot Fuzz to me is... do you know what? Hot Fuzz is my third in the Cornetto trilogy. I actually prefer World's End to Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz to me is just too ham-fisted with the editing on it. It just gets on my bloody nerves. And a little bit smug as well, I find. Whereas they pulled it back a little bit with World's End, and I really enjoyed it. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant comedy, says CA. Actually, you may have been younger, saw an all-nighter. Okay, right. An all-nighter of Friday the 13th parts 1 to 5, but can't remember the year. Alan says, outside the Highlander movies, Shaun of the Dead was possibly the best use of Queen in a movie. Yeah, it's great. Not only Queen, but what was the other one? There's another big track in there as well, British band. I'm trying to remember what it was now. I know there's a Dire Straits joke in there as well. Bloody Boston says, it took me years to realise the Night of the Living Dead nod Easter egg in Shaun of the Dead. Shaun is top tier, just a really fun watch. Shane once again, Peg has these days gone to the dark side. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything there. Adore the scene where they are choosing which vinyl to chuck at the zombies. Yes, the Dire Straits. I like Shaun, just never loved it. Batshit says, World's End is good, yeah, marmalade sandwich. And you can tell Dowd is posh by the way he says cornetto. What do you call it? Cornetto. Brilliant movie. Hot Fuzz is my number 1 in the trilogy. All balls to the wall horror will always top a balls to the wall horror will always top a horror comedy. Does anyone know what the symbolism is for the red on you? I'm sure there's something. You've got red on you. You've got red on you. I'm trying to think now. Somebody will know. Is it too late for us to write and direct our own Viennetta trilogy? A Viennetta. Jeez. How can you buy such lovely food for only 69p or whatever it is? God, all those C's and G's and E numbers in there and everything. Nick Frost is in a new horror this year. Saw the trailer at the weekend, but can't remember. Is it The Whistle, Jamie? Is he in The Whistle? That's right. Thank you, Zara. Okay. Let's go with the next one, which is the Quatermass Experiment. Let me put the link in there, folks. If you want to play along, just click on the link and it will take you to an external voting page where you can cast your vote on the Quatermass Experiment. Directed by Val Guest. Val Guest, who directed, from memory, Ask a Policeman, an old Will Hayes film in the 1940s, 30s, 40s, and then went on to direct a remake of it called The Boys in Blue with Cannon and Ball, if anybody remembers that from the 80s. God, I'm really racking the back of my head for that one. Music by James Bernard. Brian Donlevy stars. After a space mission goes wrong, an astronaut returns to Earth carrying an alien infection that mutates him into something monstrous. A gritty blend of sci-fi and body horror that helped launch British genre cinema. Adapted from Nigel Neal's BBC serial. Nigel Neal, who almost he wrote the first draft of Halloween 3, I believe, and then till Tommy Lee Wallace and John Carpenter came in and put their own spin on it. Apparently he was trying to turn it into Quatermass, pretty much. Hugely influential on later sci-fi horror, one of Hammer's earliest hits, and I think it's still pretty surprisingly grim nowadays. Is Quatermass. Top tier. 7 of you voted it in the top tier. 4 of you in second. 5 of you in third, and 2 of you in fourth. Only 18 people voted on that one. We just have a quick drink. Darren used to call it a corneo. We didn't have cornetos. Talking about. It's just a detachment gag, okay? Much prefer Quatermass in the Pit. Quatermass is top tier, very bleak and atmospheric. Kingslayer says, I can't stand Simon Pegg. Awesome 50 says, I love Hammer horror, and Quatermass Experiment was more or less the start of their amazing run. Not their best, but still really good. Rock on Tommy says, Stephen Green. Indeed. Oh, God, I remember the Boys in Blue, unfortunately. I still have done the Rock on Tommy braces. You've still got some Rock on Tommy braces? Wow. Pegg's autobiography is interesting reading. He was an alcoholic throughout the majority of 90s and 2000s. Yes. As I said, I won't comment. John Waiter 4897, amazing sci-fi horror and that amazing 4K box set. I have a Blu-ray of this from Australia, which has Quatermass 2 and the X the Unknown as extras. Yeah, the Hammer have recently been putting this stuff out there, haven't they? The Quatermass stuff. I think they've done 2 of them already in box sets. Okay, so we continue. We were too poor for Viennetta. It's still only about 89p for a bloody thing about this long. You can get it in mint as well. Telling you that. Right, let's move on. Peeping Tom. Peeping Tom. Ah, what a film. What a film. One of the early slashers, wasn't it? Directed by Michael Powell. Released in 1960. 96% on Rotten Tomatoes is Peeping Tom. Music by Brian Easdale. A disturbed filmmaker murders women while filming their fear, forcing audiences to confront voyeurism and complicity. Initially reviled, the film is now recognized as one of the most important psychological horrors ever made. It destroyed the director's career on release, later championed by Martin Scorsese, predated slasher conventions by years, hugely influential on horror theory, and still deeply unsettling today, which I agree with. I saw it fairly recently, actually. It was one of those crappy channels you get at the back of Freeview somewhere, and I was flicking through and it was on there. And it was late one night, and I just settled in and I watched the last half hour or so, and damn, is it still effective all these years later? What, 65 years since it was released? Terrific movie. 10 seconds left to vote on Peeping Tom, folks. It's in the top tier. It's doing okay. And the vote is up. 7 of you voted it in first place. 4 of you in second. 5 in third. And 1 in fourth. We have 90 people watching, folks. Thank you so much. If you could like the stream, that would be terrific. I can only see a few likes at the moment, but I need to refresh my page, I should say. Yeah, if you could like the stream, that would be terrific. And if you haven't subscribed, maybe consider it. We do this every Thursday evening at 10 p.m. UK, 5 p.m. EST. Next week, I'm thinking about doing something on Friday the 13th. I think it's Friday the 13th next Friday, isn't it? So thinking about doing something to do with Friday the 13th. Not quite sure what yet, but I'll put something in the chat in the community section over the weekend, and we'll decide what we're going to do, whether we're going to rank the movies, rank the kills, I don't know, a watch along. I'm not too keen on watch alongs, but maybe just a one-off. We may do something like that. I'll try and make it a little bit more interactive as we're doing it, but we'll see. I'll come up with some ideas over the next few days, and we'll decide exactly what we're going to do next Thursday evening. But for now, we're just over halfway through this tier 4 British horror. Currently, we have The Descent, The Wicker Man, and Shaun of the Dead in slots 1, 2, and 3. I'm just going to look at the chat here and see what your thoughts are on Peeping Tom. Peeping Tom. I never know what that emoji is. Is it like a smirk or something? I don't know what is that emoji that Kingslayer's put up there. It's like a like that. I'm never quite sure what it is. Blood on Satan's Claw was quite disturbing as a kid. Thanks terrestrial TV. Could be. I remember. Do you know what? I've never seen Blood on Satan's Claw, but I do remember a few years ago. Mark Gatiss, or Gatiss, whatever you call him, he did a 3-part horror documentary on BBC, which is terrific. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I think it's on YouTube, or maybe even on iPlayer. And he talked quite a lot about Blood on Satan's Claw. Yeah, one that I've never seen. I should maybe take a look at that one. Peeping Tom, another classic, says Jamie. Awesome 50 says, I can't believe I still haven't seen Peeping Tom. I need to correct this ASAP. Myers fan says, boat's gone down. The Viennetta Poor syndrome scarred me for life. Paul says, don't think I've seen Peeping Tom. Well worth a watch, Paul. Definitely well worth a watch. Top tier for me, it predates Psycho. It does indeed. James P says, Peeping Tom, great title that would have had the censors wound up before it was even released. No doubt it was doomed from the start. Yeah. A lot of controversy with this movie when it first came out. Luke's a Blade. Luke's a Blade says, I picked up the 4K for Peeping Tom last year. It's wonderful. Lee says, I'm sure there's a 4K. Peeping Tom is a great movie. Amazed it got made back in the day. Well, as I say, it trashed the director's career at the time, didn't it? It was risky. Critics not getting it at the time, just like Blade Runner and The Thing. Yeah. Friday the 13th best kills would be great, says Don Mac. There are 3 Friday the 13th this year, says Chester. Beat me to it, Kingslayer. Who was Peeping Tom whilst we're at it? Gordon Bennett. Muckman says, you need to abstain if you haven't seen any of the films. Excuse the vote incorrectly. Why did Chester, are you sabotaging? I voted 3rd, never seen it. Chester, you can't vote if you haven't seen it. We ask you kindly to abstain if you don't mind. I'm sure it won't make a difference. I'm sure Peeping Tom wasn't going to rattle the top few. A cheeky smirk. Okay. That's it. Wraith says, I've literally just started watching my Friday the 13th Blu-ray box set as well. Peeping Tom is also a Mike Patton side project. Is it really? You mean the Faith No More singer? Okay. Those British folk horror witch films are brilliant, says James. I think we've got one coming up if I'm... Maybe? Or maybe we've... No, we haven't. The Mark Gatiss documentary is wonderful. I rewatch it very often. It is indeed on YouTube. Yeah, it's 3 hours, 3 separate episodes, and they're all excellent. I think, if I remember right, I think Carpenter's on it. I think he gets to interview Carpenter. Blood on Satan's Claw is another great folk horror. Should have been in the poll. Bionic Zombie says Friday the 13th versus Halloween versus Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I think I've done that already, Bionic Zombie. I think I've done that one already. Okay. Let's keep going. Your next vote is, and I'm going to put the link in the chat for those of you that have just turned up. Kill List. Ben Wheatley's Kill List. Released in 2011. Shocking movie here, this one. Absolutely shocking violence. One of those short, sharp shock movies where a burst of violence happens that's absolutely terrible and really turns your stomach. 462k in the box office. Did nothing in the UK when it was first released. 79% with the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Music by Jim Williams. Neil Maskell and Mayanna Buring starred. Two hitmen take a final job that begins like a gritty crime thriller before mutating into an occult nightmare. Domestic tension, violence, and folk horror collide in one of the most shocking British endings of the 21st century. Shot on a very small budget, frequently cited as Wheatley's breakthrough movie. The genre shift is intentional and divisive. The ending became instantly notorious and influenced modern folk horror revival. I love this film. Like I said, some of the violence in this film is so upsetting. Happens so quick to some of the stuff, and you're just like, what the fuck did I just see? Well worth a watch. Zara, if you haven't watched it, I see you've picked up a copy of it. Get it watched because I think you'll really like it. And Kill List remains in the top tier. It's last in the top tier. Only 12 people voted on this. I guess not many of our American friends have seen it. 5 in the first tier, 5 in the second, 2 in the third, and none of you voted it in fourth. Can't remember if I've seen this either. You should watch it, mate. You'd really like it. Kill List, a brutal scene that makes you wince. Love how twisted it gets near the end. I preferred it on my second watch. Yeah, I think it's one of those films whereas because of the genre switch, you're like, eh? But once you've kind of taken it all in and then you watch it again, it really does. It hits even harder, I think, the second time round, even though you know what's coming. Because the first time we watch it, there's a bit of confusion there as to what is actually going on in the final few scenes. But watch it again, and it's kind of like it's his. I guess in some ways it's his Wicker Man. But yeah, terrific movie. Yeah, thank you, Lee. You just reminded me of an amazing film. Neil Maskell is fantastic, and there's another film that he brought out, which nobody saw again, which is another British film, which, can you call it horror? No, I'm not going to say because I don't want to give the movie away at all. Bull. I'm not going to explain anything about it. It's a British movie called Bull with Neil Maskell, and it's fantastic. It really is. It was one of my best films of that year. I think it's probably about 4 or 5 years old now. Yeah, Wraith, the ending is, but like once you accept that, once you embrace it and watch it again, it really does. It works well. The retro man Randy Savage says, I know it's not horror, but have you ever seen the old 1960s British sci-fi film Quatermass and the Pit? I freaking love that film. I have. We were just talking about the Quatermass experiment. I can't get into Ben Wheatley's stuff. Prefer Bull to Kill List. Yeah, Bull. I would say I think I agree with you. I thought like Kill List is brilliant, but Bull is such a great movie. Such a great movie. And yeah, it's really. I think it's really short as well, isn't it? Like 90 minutes or something like that. It's in and out. Field in England is good as well. Kill List is on Tubi. Just remembered a great film called Psychomania. Check it out. Okay. Unsettling and cracking twist. Bull and Kill List going straight on the watch list. Yeah, I think you'll like them. That's particularly Bull. I'd totally forgotten about that film. But I would have been arguing with myself for a long time as to whether it deserved to be on this list. I don't want to go into it why I think it should or shouldn't. But folks, that's your homework for this week. Watch Bull and let me know what you think about it. Great movie. There's quite a few movies called Bull as well, so make sure you get the Neil Maskell one. Right, let's kick off the vote, and we're looking at Dracula 1958, or if you're in the US, The Horror of Dracula. Terence Fisher as we all know, directed 89% with the critics, 81% with the audience. James Bernard did the music on this one. Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing. Hammer's Dracula injects color, sexuality, and violence into the vampire myth. Christopher Lee's physical predatory count faces off against Peter Cushing's relentless Van Helsing in a sleek, influential reinvention of Gothic horror. 50 seconds left, folks. Lee barely speaks throughout this film, but he totally dominates it. Hugely controversial for its bloodshed. Cemented Hammer's international reputation. Bernard's score is instantly recognizable, and it launched multiple sequels as well. Currently fourth here. Can we get Dracula, the horror of Dracula, towards the top end? Can it break into the top three? 20 seconds left, folks. It's going to have to go some to beat Shaun of the Dead, I think. But if any of you haven't yet voted, now's the time. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. And time is up. Just 20 of you voted on that one. There's 94 watching and only 20 voted. Oh, and it jumps into third place. It's knocked Shaun of the Dead back. Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay, let's see what you guys think. But I mean, for me, this Dracula film is one of my favorites. I just love the energy in this film, particularly in the final moments. That last kind of chase around the castle with him and with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, when they're just jumping over staircases and leaping across the room, and when Peter Cushing leaps at the curtains and rips them down. It's just got such great energy. And it's a film I can put on anytime, and I'm just dying for Hammer to do this as one of their plush box sets, as they did with The Curse of Frankenstein, which we'll be voting on very shortly. I think Alan said a few weeks ago that they are going to do one. I'm really pleased it's gone into third place. Really pleased. Alan says Dracula 1958 was distributed in the US by Universal, and it saved them from filing for bankruptcy. Roll on the Hammer 4K later this year. Is it? Have they announced that? Is it just like kind of rumor, or not a fan of the Dracula book, but the sequel Prince of Darkness is way better, says Daz. Bionic Zombie says Dracula late night staple on the BBC back in the day. Oh, it was on so many times, wasn't it? One of my favorite Draculas, says Rick. The color palette of Dracula is amazing. It's a wonderful movie. Awesome 50 says Dracula 58 is an absolute classic. Cushing and Lee at the top of their game. Was lucky enough to see a screening of this at the BFI IMAX. Oh, that would have been cool. Lee's Dracula surpasses Lugosi, in my opinion. Is that controversial? No. Good movie, but not great. Still an enjoyable Dracula film, says John Jones. John Jones says to Wise Guy, I agree with you, actually. Zara says, right, chat, I need to go to bed. I'll catch up on the rest tomorrow. But if you poo on Eden Lake like you did with the woman in black, we're going to have words. I've seen already in the chat here that there are a few queasy men that are not fans of Eden Lake, but we'll see how it goes. It's coming up. It's coming up. Hammer films are essentially viewing for all ages, says James. Many fond memories of watching these Hammer movies on late night BBC. Me too. Absolutely. And Joe the Waiter says, wonderful film, and next up for the Hammer Deluxe 4K treatment. Oh, I hope so. That Curse of Frankenstein box set is beautiful, and I need to pick it up. It is. It's interesting, as I watched it a few weeks. I watched it with Dave when he came over, actually. And there's a moment, because Christopher Lee it's not Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing's having an affair with the housemaid in the film, and there's a scene where he's kissing her, and she puts her hands on his face like that, and they're close up to the camera. And you can see her fingers are all yellow from nicotine stains. It comes out so well on the 4K transfer in HDR. It's officially announced. It is. Excellent. Thank you, Alan. I need to watch my copy of this Dracula. Can't remember, but sure, I saw it when I was young. Oh, absolutely, Jamie. You would love it. My introduction to horror as a kid, watched Dracula with my granny. And Zara says, I'll be making notes of names. Vote wisely, queasy men. Good night. And Jamie says, I'm taking a huge shit on Eden Lake. It's the most vile film I've ever seen. Ah, dear. Okay, let's see what's next. It is Hellraiser. A few questions over whether this was an American film or not. It's a British production. It does have New World money put into it. Some would argue it's not entirely British, but you know what? I just thought I'm going to put it in here. It's most people see it as being a British horror film, and there is a bit of American money in there. Not entirely. I did look it up. There is British funding in there as well. Like I argued with myself over whether movies like American Wolf in London and The Omen were going to go in there, but they were big studio movies that were set in the UK, that were funded by the US, and so I couldn't put those in. But this one, given it was an independent studio that part financed it, I gave it a little pass. I give it a little pass. Vote link's gone, has it? Let me just put it back in the chat for you. It is pinned in the chat if you can't see it. Hellraiser, released in 1987, directed by Clive Barker, who sadly is not very well at the moment. 67% with the critics. Music, that great score by Christopher Young. Dud Bradley, Claire Higgins. 5 seconds left to vote on this one, folks. 2, 1, 0. A mysterious puzzle box opens a gateway to the Cenobites, beings who blur the line between pleasure and pain. Its desire, obsession, and betrayal spiral out of control. The film creates a uniquely British fusion of body horror and Gothic mythology. Based on Clive Barker's Hellbound Heart, Cenobites were inspired by S&M subculture. The score is considered a genre classic. Doug Bradley played Pinhead multiple times, and it spawned one of horror's longest franchises, which up until a couple of years ago is still going. I'm sure there'll be more. I'm sure there'll be more. Okay, so it's finished. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. In the top tier as it stands at the moment. 26 of you voted on that. 14 of you voted in first place. 4 in second. 6 in third. 2 in fourth. And yeah, 5th place in the top tier. Let's see what you guys thought in the chat. Was the housemaid Sydney Sweeney? Of course it was. Is a British film that pretends badly to be American. Well, I think that was from what I remember. I think midway through the production, they decided to make it appeal to an American audience. So you'll notice that there's very few exterior shots on this because they didn't want it to look like it was filmed in the UK. I think there's a couple of shots of people walking down the street. A lot of the UK cast were dubbed with American accents. There's a few scenes in there. There's actually one scene with the removal men at the start. I think one of the guys there is actually a British director, and they dubbed his voice. But they did everything they could to make it look like an American movie. But then when you look in the kitchen, you can see British plug sockets and things like that. Hellraiser is a phenomenal film, unsettling and enthralling. Anyone who hasn't read the novella, definitely check that out as well. Awesome 50 says, another fabulous movie. Hellraiser is British enough to fit in the poll. Easily the best of the series. And Duke says, well, the director is British. Hellraiser is good, but Hellraiser 2 is way better in my opinion. Really love Hellraiser, but Hellbound is in my opinion, is a better, darker film. I've always loved Hellraiser I've always viewed Hellraiser as a British film. I think me too. And Retro Man Randy Savage says, I was going to ask if you were including American Wolf in London as a British film. No, I think it was just I mean, the crew was obviously the settings are British. The crew was largely British, directed by an American, and with American money behind it. So we have shite to show you. Hellraiser is very good, but does have the grub factor for me. Second tier. I do have a life-size Pinhead animatronic though, so you find it a grubby movie, but you've got a life-size Pinhead in the house. Which part do you find grubby? I recently bought that 4K Hellraiser box set. I need to get that opened. Yeah, I have it myself down here, the Arrow video one. I think it's just got the first 3 or 4 movies in it. I love the Hellraiser score. It was great. The Christopher Young score for this film is really epic. Really epic. Hellraiser was very difficult for its time. Very different for its time. Still not 100% convinced by it, but worth a look now and again. I just don't get why they won't release the Hellraiser remake on Blu-ray in 4K. Weird, says Wise Guy. Yeah, I think it was a streaming movie. If I remember rightly, the Hellraiser remake was shot for streaming, I think, if I remember right. I can't remember which channel it was, though. Andrew says Hellraiser is Clive's peak, and it was all downhill from then. Amazing effects from Bob Keene's image animation. Amazing writer. However, people seem to have trouble adapting his books to film and TV. Daz says, I used to think the Tramp was Alan Moore, the comic writer. Yeah, the guy who's eating all the kind of grubs and the insects. Just needed a smoke, blowing a gale and raining, and I'm due to be digging at the castle again at 9:30 a.m. Hope it's cancelled. We'll find out by 8:30 a.m. Are you gardener now, Paul? Is that what you're doing? And The Mask of Horror Actor by Doug Bradley is a good read if you have the time. Okay. Let's go over here and start the vote. The next film is Eden Lake. I have to confess to really liking this film. I think when a horror movie can get such a response from you in terms of how just utterly appalled you feel at the end of it, I think it's done its job. This is such a frustrating movie. When I first saw it, I wasn't a massive fan. Not because I was shocked by it, but I just wasn't a massive fan. I don't know what it was. I think I was confused by a few things in it, and I watched it years later, and fairly recently as well, and I'd forgotten this is actually really good. I thought it was terrific. I thought Jack O'Connell was brilliant in it. You've also got, and I can never remember his name, but he's the voiceover actor who does SAS Who Dares Wins on Channel 4. He does a lot of voiceover work, and he's in this film as well. He plays the dad. And that final scene where the door closes to the bathroom and her and the dad are in there is just soul-destroying. Not to mention the torture that goes on earlier on. And it's vile, it is. I agree with you, it is vile. But the really weird thing about it is that this sort of shit happens. It could happen, and it does happen. It has. We know it's happened. There are famous cases of things like this happening. It's essentially the Bulger case, but with adults in a lot of respects. Yeah, tough movie, and it finishes in the top tier, deservedly so, in my opinion. 12 in the first tier, 2 in the second tier, 1 in the third, 4 in the fourth. Andrew says, I don't know if I've ever seen a bleaker ending than that of what Eden Lake delivers. It stabs you right in the chest. Only seen it twice and have no desire to pick it up and view it ever again. I will do, but I need to give it time to watch it again. I do think it's incredibly brave filmmaking. And yeah, it just really, like, it's too close to home. That's the problem with it. There are plenty of instances of things like this happening all the time, all the time. You know, with young kids, it's frightening. I respect that Eden Lake is well made, but I genuinely hate. There's no upside. I get why people don't like it. There is no upside to this movie whatsoever. Eden Lake is such a rough film to watch. It's gut-wrenching. Psychomania is a British bunch of wannabe Hells Angels via influence. They turn into Hells Angels. Good ride. Drac, Prince of Darkness. Right, okay. Eden Lake is the only film to ever make my missus seethe with rage. It was the final shot that tipped her over the edge. Oh, you mean Jack O'Connell in the bathroom? Just kind of like, after everything he's done, just kind of posing and smiling at himself? Horrible scene. Horrible scene. I have to put it top tier, but that bloody ending, says Lee. And Daz says, saw it at the time, thought it was just fine, need to rewatch. I think if you rewatch it, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. Because I think at the time we were getting a lot of shocking horror movies. It was around the time where the Hostel movies were coming out, the Saw movies were coming out. We don't get too much stuff like this anymore. And me watching it fairly recently, we did an episode on TSL about 6 months ago. I was staggered by how brutal this film is. Yeah. Because everybody can relate to the type of behavior in this film. Just a sucker. In my New Year's resolution was to say no more. It's not going well. That lasted up until the end of. No, mate, just a sucker. A sucker? A sucker. Okay, whatever that means. I'm not sure, Paul. Eden Lake is definitely top tier, but I could never watch it again. I hold my loved ones close after it finished. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I watched this film because you recommended it a few months back. Thank you. Very quality film. Good. Bleak ending films are superb. I agree. Eden Lake, Seasoning House, Speak No Evil. Oh, Speak No Evil, the original. Kidnapped, Funny Games, love them. Yeah, I'm a fan as well. Not too many in a short space of time, but I do like it when a film makes me feel utterly drained. I do love it when a film, makes me feel like I've had the shit kicked out of me. And Eden Lake is the best at doing that. I was sickened by Eden Lake. I felt like they were promoting violence without any comeuppance. I don't look at it that way at all. I didn't feel they were promoting violence. I think the twist is that there isn't a comeuppance, and that's what's shocking about it. I think you're kind of led to think that she's gonna, win the day with. I don't want to give too much away if people haven't seen it, but you all know by now that it doesn't end well. But I think it takes you down a path where you think everything's going to be fine, and then it just kicks you in the balls. I remember liking Eden Lake, but can't remember much about it, to be honest. We've watched so many movies in our time. Yeah. I'm interested to see what Clayface is going to be like, which is from James Watkins and co-written by Mike Flanagan. Yeah, James Watkins, who directed this film, actually. A couple's countryside getaway turns into a nightmare when they clash with a group of increasingly violent local youths. As authority collapses, the film spirals into a merciless portrait of mob mentality and societal breakdown. Yeah, tough movie. Very tough movie. Okay, let's move on to something a little bit more uplifting. Dead Man's Shoes. What a film. I think one of the best British, not just best British horror. Well, it's kind of, this dabbles in horror. It's a thriller drama for the first hour or so, and then from the hour point onwards, almost turns into like a slasher movie. The guy suits up, puts a gas mask on, grabs an axe, and goes round and takes vengeance on those that have wronged him and his brother. What a heartwarming tale. Are you talking about Dead Man's Shoes? Dead Man's Shoes is great. Shane Meadows, it's such a great movie. Only 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, which really surprises me. Paddy Considine, a former soldier, returns to his hometown to confront the group of men who abused his learning disabled brother. As the truth emerges, the film transforms from social realism into grim psychological horror driven by guilt, vengeance, and suppressed trauma. Paddy Considine in this is just fantastic. Like, terrifying in this film. You'll know what I mean. Okay, vote is up. Dead Man's Shoes is top tier. Sandwiched in between Peeping Tom and Eden Lake. It has 11 of you voted it in first, one of you in second, and one of you in fourth. I guess not many people have seen Dead Man's Shoes. It's terrific. I'm with you. Paul H says Second Sight hopefully releasing a 4K. That would be terrific. Myers fan says definitely my favorite Shane Meadows flick. Paddy Considine's best ever performance for me. Paul says once again I've seen it, don't remember it. Dead Man's Shoes is such a dark and sad film. Plenty of funny moments too, though, but very disturbing along with it. It's got everything. It has. It's so. I think Shane Meadows has a knack of being able to place you right in the heart of real world situations, like especially if you're from the north of England. And just dumping you in there, and almost like a documentary type feel he gives you. And the horror in this, when it comes, is just so real, so brutal, so raw, and shocking. It really does the job in that last 15, 20 minutes. I won't say too much more about it because I'd really like some of our American friends to watch this film. It's great. Shoes jaw dropped me. A hidden gem that it needs more coverage. Gritty stuff. Think it's on Tubi. Muckman says, now Dead Man's Shoes is definitely top tier. Love that ending. Paddy Considine is incredible. It's due a rewatch. Wise Guy says, Dead Man's Shoes, word of mouth spread like wildfire. Everyone at work was passing the DVD around to watch. I saw this in the cinema. I think it played for 1 week in the Haymarket in London, and I went with a friend of mine. I'd not even heard of it. He said, I'm going to watch this movie, Dead Man's Shoes. Do you want to come along? I went along. Absolutely adored it. I bought it afterwards. I've got it somewhere. I haven't got I don't think there is a 4K of it. I'm pretty sure there isn't. I think I have a DVD of it somewhere. But it is, if you haven't seen it, it's well worth a watch. Hopefully, a lot of our American friends are picking up some. We've already had a few people saying that they're going to watch Bull and Kill list. Add Dead Man's Shoes to that list as well. I think you'll really enjoy it. Andrew said that's a big list of flicks in tier 1 for people to get watching or rewatching. It's dark comedy also, how they all fit into that bloody citron. Yeah. From the north or beyond the wall, as I like to say. Well, it's north for me because it's like Derbyshire. I know I'm from Bradford, but it's kind of or Saltaire, Shipley, not Bradford. I know it's set in the Midlands, isn't it? I think it's Derbyshire, Midlands somewhere. Dead Man's Shoes is brilliant, not horror but horrific in regards to humanity, like Eden Lake. Yes, it is. There's a brutal realism to it, just like there is with Eden Lake. It doesn't push things as far as Eden Lake does, and there is at least some sort of redemption at the end of this one, whereas Eden Lake just kicks you in the bollocks and runs away. It's there's a lot of these I'll be checking out that I haven't seen. Good, John. Good for you. Colin, good to see you, buddy. Happy birthday for yesterday. Colin was 52 yesterday. Happy birthday, mate. Late to the party. Working life should be banned. And Lisa says, I lived in Shipley Saltaire for a few years. Really? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I follow your channel. I didn't know you were living over here. I was born in Shipley and lived in the Shipley area until I was 19. I've been away from home now for 33 years or something like that. I go back every so often, and I am planning to move back up there at some point. But for now, living down in Essex. Dead Man's Shoes is such a great film, says Colin. And Jamie says, watch Under the Skin too if you haven't seen it. It doesn't deserve tier 3. It's a modern day masterpiece. Can you tell I'm upset with tier 3? You're as upset as Zara is about the Woman in Black finishing in 3rd tier. That's like a favourite film of all time. Okay, 3 more films left to vote on. Let's get that vote started. And we are talking The Curse of Frankenstein next. I'm going to put the link in the chat for those of you that are new in. And here we go. 75 seconds left to vote on The Curse of Frankenstein. 1957, directed by Terence Fisher. No box office on this. Obviously, they weren't recording too much box office back at the time. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, obviously. Hammer reimagines Frankenstein by shifting the focus onto Victor himself, a polite, intelligent, and utterly ruthless man whose ambition outweighs any moral concern. The monster is horrifying, but the true terror lies in the Doctor's cold detachment. Hammer's first major colour horror hit. Peter Cushing's Victor is unusually cruel and calculating. Christopher Lee barely speaks but dominates the screen. Redefined British Gothic horror for decades. Hugely controversial for its violence at the time. Yeah, there's some great moments in this. The stunt in this film when the guy is thrown off over the balcony, and I don't know how they do it. It's just it's an amazing shot. There's also the shot of, I think it's when Frankenstein drops into that bath as well. Some terrific stuff in this film. Watched it fairly recently, just a couple of months ago. And that great 4K that Hammer brought out. 2 seconds left, folks. And the time is up. And we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. Wow, I honestly thought this would be higher. This is such a great movie. You guys obviously think Tales from the Crypt is better than Curse of Frankenstein. Okay, fair enough. 13 of you voted it in first place, 4 in second, 1 in third, and just 1 of you in 4th place. It's always somebody mashing that 4th place button. Probably Tony. Hopefully he's going to come back. Hopefully he's not sulking. Where have we got to here in the chat? Daz1428, all the Hammer Frankensteins are fun. Watches for me. Peter Cushing was great as a bastard. Yeah. John Jones says, Curse of Frankenstein is one of my favourite adaptations of the story. Stumbled on it as a kid after watching the Universal films, and I was obsessed with how gothic it was. Paul says, don't remember Curse well enough. I need to dust off my Hammer box sets. Oh, it's terrific, Paul. And it's really short as well. I think it's like an hour and a quarter, an hour and 20 minutes or something. It flies by. Probably my favourite Frankenstein and the most disturbing, says Duke. Yeah, the scene in the woods when they're shooting at him and they shoot him in the head and everything is really upsetting. Curse is great, but it's certainly not the best Hammer Frankenstein film. I would take either Revenge of Frankenstein, either Revenge or Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed over Curse. Okay, interesting. Just watched the 4K of this, says Joe the Waiter. Outstanding film. Makes me want to watch It Ain't Half Hot, Mum. Oh, well, with Melvin Hayes. Yeah, he plays the young Victor, doesn't he, at the start? Peter Cushing is great, and the balcony scene always gets me more so than the blood. Yeah, that fall. Horrific. I'm missing Tony's film bashing. He makes me laugh. It's very difficult to concentrate when you've got that constant, just chipping away all the time. I know he doesn't mean it or anything like that, but it's very difficult to concentrate when that's happening. And that's why I just had to, for that moment in time while I was dealing with something, I didn't need those comments. So I had to time him out. Darren, that Peeping Tom thumbnail is from The Band, one of Mike Patton's many projects. Is it really? Is that what it is? It was the only one that was available. All the rest of them on fan art were foreign language versions of it. And Chester said, Curse of Frankenstein, I enjoyed a lot. Cool. Okay. Let's move on to one of the final votes. The penultimate vote. We have two left, two really, really cool films. And the first one that we're going to vote on is Don't Look Now. Wow, what a film. What a film. Released in 1973, directed by Nick Rogue. Rotten Tomatoes have it at 94%. Pino Donaggio, one of my favorite horror scorers, did the music on this film. Donald Sutherland, Julie Christie. Grieving parents travel to Venice after the death of their daughter, only to encounter strange premonitions and unsettling figures. Fragmented editing and ominous imagery blur past, present, and future, building toward one of horror's most devastating endings. And it is a devastating ending. Not in the Eden Lake sort of way. It's a little more tasteful than that. Frequently cited as one of the greatest horror films ever made. Editing style mirrors the character's fractured grief. The red coat became iconic. The sex scene caused controversy on release. It actually does look like they're at it in this film. I don't know whether they just kind of like said, what the hell, let's go for it. But it's pretty full on is the mucky part of this movie. Influenced generations of psychological horror as well. 10 seconds left to vote, folks. We are currently in the top tier. Doing okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th in the top tier. A lot of top tier films on this one. The bulk of them are in the top tier. All of them apart from 5. Some great movies. Okay. Rob McGregor says, hi, Darren. Have you seen The Hide, starring Alex McQueen from 2008? It's very tense, well-made little thriller that uses only one location. I don't think I have. Rob. Absolute classic, says Colin. Nick Rogue's masterpiece, says Daz. Only seen Look once and remember nothing apart from the little girl, of course. Well, maybe not a girl. The girl at the start, I guess, when she drowns, but yeah. Don't Look Now is so good, disturbing and creeping all the way through. Brilliant stuff. It's undoubtedly a classic, but I find Don't Look Now very, very slow. So second tier, really? Oh, I think it's terrific. I think another film that deserves a few watches. You know, once you obviously know the outcome, a lot more things sort of fall into place when you're watching it a second and third time. I met Nick Rogue in the late 90s at a film event in Hull. We chatted about Don't Look Now for 20 minutes. Really nice guy. He was the original director on Flash Gordon. Did a lot of the prep work, the pre-production, all that kind of stuff. I can't remember whether they actually shot any of the movie, but obviously they got rid of him and brought Mike Hodges on. Don't Look Now wrecked me as amazing cinematography that captured 70s Venice amazingly. One of my all-time faves. Alan says, Don't Look Now is class. Even the look of the film is unsettling. Julie Christie was one of my first crushes. She was beautiful in this film. Absolutely beautiful. It was the 70s, no intimacy coordinations. Yeah. And was also released as a double bill with The Wicker Man too. Yes, I've seen the posters for that. That's a terrific double bill. What a crushing double bill that is. Two really bleak endings. Brilliant stuff. As an honorable mention, I have to put in City of the Dead from 1960, Amicus Films' first release starring Christopher Lee. Such a creepy, atmospheric film known as Horror Hotel in the States. Okay, I haven't seen City of the Dead. I should check that out. There's an Amicus box set I was eyeing up today. And I think it was about 50 or 60 quid. It's got about 7 or 8 films on there, all anthology films, which I ended up just getting the Tales from the Crypt anthology with the double bill one. I can't remember the title of the other film. But yeah, looking forward to looking at those over the weekend. CA says this film is a psychological slow burn and well made, and the less said the better for all the people who have not seen it. Yes, definitely is one of those that you need to experience for sure. Okay, Final movie. The final movie. And it's Dog Soldiers. Now, can Dog Soldiers trouble The Descent in first place? Let's see what happens with Dog Soldiers. Released in 2002. Directed again by Neil Marshall. 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has I think it has a slightly higher score than The Descent, if I remember rightly. 79% with the audience. Sean Pertwee, Kevin McKidd, during a military Vault of Horror. Thank you, Joe the Wet. That's the one I've been thinking of for the whole evening. Vault of Horror and Tales from the Crypt. That's the double bill. During a military training exercise in the Scottish Highlands, a group of soldiers are attacked by werewolves and forced to barricade themselves inside a remote farmhouse. Combining siege tension, gallows humor, and creature horror, it's a modern cult classic. Marshall's first movie, practical effects used extensively, dialogue heavily inspired by real squaddy banter, often compared to Aliens with werewolves, and it became a strong home video hit. It's currently about 11th, I think, in the top tier there. Not too many people voting on this movie. Just 23 at the moment. 3 seconds left, folks. And the vote is up. The vote is up. Okay. Colin says, Darren, you love it. It's in black and white, but man, the atmosphere is thick. It's about witch trials. Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Sausages for Tier 1, says Andrew. That's the name of the book. The making of the movie has a book. The making of the movie book is called Sausages. My boss has got a section in there. Dog Soldiers, good fun, but not great for me, says Lee Wilson. Oof, Dog Soldiers, second best werewolf movie ever, top tier. Wow, okay. High praise from Lisa. Dog Soldiers was fun. I love Dog Soldiers, my third favorite cinematic. Werewolves 2. Criminal, the sequel, never happened. They're still tight. I think he's always it comes up in conversation quite a lot with him when you watch him on panels and things like that. I think he'd still do it if he had the opportunity. My greatest shame as a Brit is not liking Dog Soldiers. It's a fun film, but The Descent is on another level. 11 of you voted in first place. 9 in second, 1 in third, and 2 in fourth. The Second Sight 4K is one of my favorite things in my collection. Asylum 1972, Amicus Productions. Yeah, that was in the box set, I think. Dog Soldiers is my third favorite werewolf film next to American Werewolf and The Howling. James says, sorry to be that guy, but hated Dog. It was so dark, it was near impossible to see what was happening. Really? I've never had that. Okay, never had that problem with it. I know that they don't give you too much of a look at the werewolves in them because they're pretty static. They don't move very much in terms of like the jaws and mouths and all that, the eyes. They don't. So the werewolves, you get very... I know what you're saying. They're in shadow and you get very quick shots of them, which is just a stylistic choice to not reveal too much of the practical effects, I guess. Awesome 50 says, unfortunately, I find both Dog Soldiers and The Descent overrated. And Bloody Boston says, this film is worth it for the line, I hope I give you the shits, when he's eating his guts. Yeah. Love Dog Soldiers, says Jamie. Great practical effects on the lanky werewolves. And Joe the Waiter says, Dog Soldiers is definitely not bone. Not bone? Bone? What are you talking about, bone? Sean Pertwee is another one of our best actors, in my opinion. Badly underrated and should be bigger, says Paul. I hope I give you the shit, says... I like the twist in Dog Soldiers. And Flavaretti says, is the White Bunny and Holy Grail considered British horror? There's a few moments in the Holy Grail, isn't there, that that are pretty horrific. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got. We have, in first place, we have The Descent, a great British horror movie there, and fully deserves to win, I think, as well. There's a few of them that I feel fully deserve to win, but I'm happy with The Descent winning it. The Wicker Man is in second place. The Horror of Dracula, or Dracula from 1958, is in third place. Shaun of the Dead in fourth place. Hellraiser in fifth. Tales from the Crypt in sixth. The Curse of Frankenstein is in seventh place. Eden Lake is in eighth place. Ninth is Dead Man's Shoes, and 10th is Dog Soldiers. Don't Look Now is in 11th. Peeping Tom in 12th. Quatermass Experiment in 13th. The Haunting from 1963 in 14th place. 15th place is Ben Wheatley's Kill List. Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later is in 16th place. I absolutely expected this one to win it, folks, if I'm honest. The Ritual is in 17th place. The Devil Rides Out in 18th place. The Woman in Black, 19th. And Under the Skin in 20th. Wow. Okay. That is it. That is the best of British horror. We whittled this down from 40 movies to a top 3 of The Descent, The Wicker Man, and Horror of Dracula, or Dracula. Folks, thank you so much to all the votes that you cast during the week, and for all the votes that you've cast tonight, with 415 votes cast this evening to get to where we are. This was a lot of fun. Apologies for the few technical issues at the start. I'll make sure that those are removed and people don't have to endure those on rewatches. But I was thinking earlier, I was trying to write a few words about British horror and why I think it's so special. But I think it matters because the films themselves British horror films have always left a mark, from, Hammer's gothic reinvention of Dracula and Frankenstein to Peeping Tom and Don't Look Now, pushing psychological horror into uncomfortable new territory. These movies didn't just scare audiences, they changed what horror could be. The Wicker Man defined folk horror. 28 days later, reshaped modern zombie cinema, and The Descent proved British horror could still be brutal, claustrophobic, as so many of you have said in the chat there, and mainstream at the same time. Even when the budgets were small, ideas were big, and many of these films continue to influence directors and audiences decades later. And I think that's why British horror holds its place in film history, not as a niche, but as a constant source of innovation, debate, and genuinely unforgettable movies in my mind. So thank you, folks, for joining. This was a lot of fun. We're going to do something on Friday the 13th next week. What that is, I'm not sure, but we'll have a little chat in the community section or on the Facebook page. The Facebook page is still live. If you search Only Sans Horror on Facebook, you'll see the Facebook page. There's about 150 people in there at the moment, and I drop a lot of stuff in there with regards to the streams and the channel and everything. And also in the community section on YouTube as well. We'll get some discussion going there as to what we're going to do next Thursday evening, 10 o'clock UK time and 5 p.m. EST. Hopefully Brandon will be back with us next week. Some of you will notice he wasn't here today. He's been in hospital. He has come home this evening, so I wish him all the best and thank him for all the work that he does, and thanks to you guys as well. I think this was a really good stream once we got going, and it was one that I pulled rank on and wanted to do. I'd wanted to do it for a long time. And somebody did suggest it as well a few weeks ago, so I thought it was a good thing to do. And thanks to so many of you for joining. There was over 100 here at one point. For British horror, that's really cool. So I'll say goodbye. Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon.